Hi, my name is Geert Van Gele and I would like to talk about the interpretation of Renaissance music. This video is part of a series that accompanied the iBook Thoughts on the Recorder, which is available through my webshop kettenbergrecordings.be. You can find a link in the description, and I have also included a clickable link at the end of this video if you want to learn more about it. 16th century music to me has a lot of features of Baroque music, thanks to the text interpretation, also referred to as text coloration. The tricky part is to get accustomed to the polyphony. For me, the intricate weaving of simultaneous melodies was really difficult to understand and took quite some time to get familiar with. In order to ease yourself into the world of polyphony, I would like to suggest the following route. First, start with homophonic chansons and madrigals and instrumental pieces. In many of these you can find small polyphonic passages. In my conservatory years we did the great repertoire, which in retrospect worked counterproductive for me. Second, dances by Holborne and the likes are also a good way to familiarize yourself with the easier Renaissance repertoire. Third, as a next step I would like to suggest playing early Baroque concert pieces, like fantasias by Geert, which are written in a combination of old, the Renaissance, and the new Baroque idiom. The fact that these are concert pieces will make them more polyphonic, but at the same time, the fact that they are written in a Baroque idiom will make them easier to comprehend. The same is true for composers like Monteverdi and Gabrieli. These composers are practically Baroque, even though in a lot of ways you could consider them to be Renaissance. 4. You are now ready to tackle the more serious Renaissance repertoire with more complex polyphony. Go step by step backwards in history. The heavier repertoire is situated at the beginning of the 16th century, which in part still has a lot of similarities with the late medieval repertoire of the 15th century. Something that I always kept in mind and what has really helped me is something Geert Van Gele taught us in conservatory in Antwerp. No matter how you look at it, in Western tonal music, you can always bring this music back to its essence, which is harmony. This is a guideline which will help you to get a grasp on any polyphonic piece of music. Search for the harmony, the chords, which sculpt the piece and where the independent melodies coil themselves around. Go search for modulations, but be aware that this music theoretically still utilizes church modi, even though clear tendencies towards major and minor keys will be around plentifully. Therefore, I think it's more important to try and find the places where the music modulates rather than trying to reconstruct a harmonic scheme. Ask yourself, what is happening in the music? Are there different sections? How do these relate to each other? Is there a build-up, or are the different sections presented as new thoughts? Go find your cadences and find clues by looking at all the parts in order to come to a comprehensive story spanning the whole piece. Now, I have my own little theory about Renaissance music which I like to share. Since I have played through quite some repertoire and I feel very comfortable performing and teaching it, I feel pretty strongly that around the time of Josquin, which is around 1520, a big shift in music occurs. A lot of his music, on the one hand, still feels like late medieval repertoire. And on the other hand, in a lot of his repertoire from around this time, one can start to find the beginnings of text coloration or text interpretation, which invites the performer to perform in a more expressive way with a clear connection to the words. This to me marks the very beginnings of the Baroque idiom, stepping away from the medieval idiom, which lacks exactly this connection between text and music. In other words, if we don't consider the typical forms of the later Renaissance period, I often jokingly say the medieval period went straight into the Baroque. Of course, this is not to be taken in complete seriousness, but yet it does state something. In the Renaissance repertoire of Josquin and later, one can feel these kinds of Baroque text interpretations appearing. Word colorations become more and more prominent in the course of the 16th century, and once traced down, they are a thankful tool for any musician interpreting this repertoire. Please be careful when bringing out the words expressively, to keep checking with the other polyphonic parts. Whenever playing in consort, one should always keep the word colorations in balance with the other polyphonic parts, so that the concert piece comes over as a beautiful blend, and not as a couple of solo parts next to one another. It's easy to let an expressive part stick out, and by doing so obscuring the others. That's it for now. If you follow the link, you can watch the next video on how to interpret Renaissance music when playing in a consort setting. Thanks for watching.